Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and wherever you are joining from. So, a very welcome to all of you. And we are going to start our webinar focusing on how to build your career in SAP and how to navigate your career in SAP for the all kinds of consultants, freshers, or people who want to build career into ERP and SAP space. So, with me, I have Gagan Mohan Singh and let me quickly introduce Mulder ERP. So Mulder ERP is into space of training and consulting, basically focused into ERP skills, along with SAP and other technologies as well, and not just training but internships plus putting into the live projects, etc. Yeah, and about the speaker, I think uh, whatever I say would be less because he is one of the most popular SAP celebrity on the LinkedIn as well as on YouTube, and we have been hearing so many great things from him with respect to SAP, with respect to career building, with respect to how to navigate your path in SAP. What are the good things? What are the new incoming things in SAP? So we are going to listen to Mr. Gagan Mohan Singh. He has worked with all the major companies and organizations and has built solutions as well as guided the customers on various solutions of SAP ERP, and has also tried his hand, I think, on the entrepreneurship journey as well for a brief period, which I'm aware of. So we'll be talking a lot of things in this session, and this session is going to be really interesting. Welcome, Gaganji, and yeah, your voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so
okay,
much. Thanks a lot for inviting me over, and really excited to be here, and always happy in talking about SAP careers and SAP. So thank you so much.
sure, Gagan. So to start with, I think everyone wants to, start career in SAP, or somebody who is working in SAP. They want to know like what is the right path, what are the tracks available, uh, how to go about it. Some people might be coming from domain experience, some might be completely techies coming from BTech degrees or some engineering background or something. So how do you suggest what can be good for people in this, how to go about molding their careers in SAP, basically, Gagan? Yeah.
Sure. Um, so what I think is that when you want to join something like SAP or any other field for that matter, the most important thing is to get trained, right? A lot of you might be engineers, so you would have been trained in Java, Python, right, and so many other SDs and SDKs, right? But when it comes to SAP, there are very few colleges in India who actually touch upon SAP as a subject, right? So what I would suggest is you need to get formal SAP education properly, right? So go to a good institute, get yourself trained, and then enter the field of SAP, right? Some people might tell you SAP is easy and you can learn it yourself. Yes, SAP is not tough, I would say, but the consistency you get when you get trained properly is something which is very important, right? Because if you start learning on YouTube or some other channel, after a few sessions you might start losing focus, right? So that is what you get when you get trained formally. So that is the first thing which I recommend. Even when I started my journey, I started with IBM, and what IBM did was IBM got us enrolled in a 15-day full day session into SAP, right? So 15 into 8 hours is what they enrolled us into SAP. So that actually helped me kickstart my career in SAP, right? I was coming directly from MBA. I was a fresher. I had done my BTech, then I had done my MBA, and I had no idea about SAP or an ERP, right? So those 15 days actually helped me shape my career. And you would not believe that after those 15 days I could directly jump into an implementation. And I did the SAP SD implementation for Frito Lays, right? The Lays snacks, chips, kurkure,
Hmm.
etc. that you have.
Yeah.
So that is the power of a good training, right? People want to skip that part and directly jump into work. Yes, I know
Right.
work is important, but you cannot do that. SAP needs someone to guide you through that journey, right? You need to know your screens, you need to know your tables, your T codes, right? And you need someone who's experienced enough to teach you all of that. So that is what I would say, that if you want to start with learning SAP formally.
Right. Right. Now, in case of somebody, got into SAP and initially they thought it's very easy, and later on, after some time, they start finding it difficult because you come up with so many terms, so many
Yes.
jargon, so many scenarios. So, what is the path there? What is the suggestion there? And
Okay. So when you are in SAP, you still need to continue learning, right? So Rakesh and myself, we still keep learning, right? There's so many things I hear from Rakesh. He keeps reading, he keeps learning all the time. I do the same, right? So I've been SAP SD consultant. I don't do SD any longer. I'm a pre-sales guy
right,
now, but I still
right,
do a lot of learning on SD, right? I read what the others are writing. So John Simmons, James Alcott, all these guys keep writing books on SAP SD, and I keep buying them and I
right.
still read them, right? Because SAP is doing new things and I want to know those, right? And plus, I want to keep myself updated on what is happening in the SAP S/4HANA world. So even when you are a consultant, you are already inside. If you are an SAP guy, you cannot stop reading till you have retired, right? So you'll have to keep reading, you'll have to keep learning. That is the only way out. And if you want to grow and have a great career in SAP, you just cannot stop learning. So that's my answer, Rakesh.
No, very, very true. I think learning is something we have to do on a daily basis. We can't just skip it, saying that I have learned everything, I got certified, I did two projects. Now, I mean, I'm just set up for the success. It's not like that. I think, like you said, buying the books, buying the materials, reading them, going through them. So many blogs, so many nice things keep coming. You have help.sap, you have stn.sap, you have so many nice locations now. Even learn.sap.com is there. So everything is available, along with, of course, the formal SAP trainings and all that. So you have to keep learning. Even if you are a, let's say, expert consultant, you can't just say SAP is an ocean and you have to keep on draining one spoon at a time. If I say
Yeah.
the learning that we have, over the period of time. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that.
So example, I'm a SD consultant, right? I've done around 10 implementations. And I would still say I just know about 30% of SD, right? So SD itself is an ocean. And
Yeah,
then talk about SAP as a whole. Tomorrow you want to be a manager, a project manager, a program manager. You would want to know a lot more and you would want to learn a lot more. So you just cannot stop learning if you're an SAP guy. That's it.
that's true. And then there is a one more common debate goes on, or I would say people get confused about functional role and technical role. So how do you, channelize the careers in functional and technical? Who should go in functional? Who should go in technical? Like you said, you are an MBA and then you went into a functional role of SD, basically. So how do you channelize? How can people decide upon whether they should go for a functional module or a technical module and things like that?
I am a bachelor's in IT from Delhi University. Okay, so BTech type of course, 4 years, and all I studied was programming. First semester to eighth semester, so C, C++, Java, any language that was around at that time, we did all of that, right, including AI, etc. I was good at it. I liked doing coding, but then I entered MBA and I realized that I was more a functional guy. I liked speaking to people. I liked doing business stuff. I liked learning what was business. how do you do business, what are the calculations, how do you need to go about it, all those things I found them better. So when IBM came calling to campus, that was in 2007, and they took my interview, then I was very clear at that point of time that I want to be a functional guy, right? Because technical has its own advantages and people love to be technical, but for me it was the fact that I like interacting more with people. So that's one major difference. So if you are a people guy and you like speaking a lot to people, talking to people, understanding their issues, problems, etc., then you will be more successful as a functional consultant. Because as a functional consultant, I normally say if you're on a 10-month project, you'll not spend more than 10 days in configuration, right?
Correct,
Most of
correct.
the other time would be spent talking to people. Whereas if you are a developer in a 10-month project, then you will spend around 8 9 months developing your programs, right? So if you like being on the system, if you like talking to the system, if you like connecting with the system, then
Right.
think of being a technical consultant. But if you like talking to people, understanding issues, problems, business, meetings, if you're that kind of a person, then going for functional stuff. Also, if you want to go into technical, you have to remember that you need to have your basics right, right? You need to know tables, architectures, what are databases, all of those things. So if you're coming from, say, BA or BCom, then you would find it a little difficult to adjust to that,
Right.
right? So engineers have that advantage, they can go both ways, right? BBAs, MBAs, BComs, BAs, they would ideally want to choose the functional side, is what I think.
No, you rightly said, like, uh, even I am a engineer, and then I kind of learned bit of functional during the course of my SAP career. But yeah, typically for if you are a people person where you want to interact with customers, your colleagues, or your take the requirements from people, understand their process, discuss in detail with them, then the functional track, as you said, is the right one. And then technical is more towards, you like to build things, you like to create things, where you want to build a solution or interact with the system, and spend more time building things. Then technical path is more suitable. And technical, I think, you have ABAP, you have basis, you have so many other security and other roles, admin roles in SAP. And in functional, of course, you have all the different modules depending on the domain you're coming from, whether you're coming from HR or finance or sales or procurement. So depending on which area, also many a times it's on calling. Like you said, you had engineering background, and then you did MBA, and you felt your calling is more into functional area or talking with people, rather than getting into coding and things like that. So it depends on your calling, what you feel is good for you, what you like, what you enjoy to do. That matters basically. Thanks. I
Absolutely.
think that's totally correct. There's one more. I think the question which everyone is having in their mind is certification. How important is certification, Gagan? Like, how many of them you have done? I myself have done two, three certification, I guess. And but yeah, what do you think the benefit of doing certification, Gagan?
Um, so I did my training in IBM in 2007, and till 2011 I was not certified, right? Because I was already into a job and I
Mm-hmm.
did not feel the need for a certification, right? And then I went into a project, then the customer tells me, so this is a small story. There were guys at the customer side, IT people. So they tell me, I am SD certified, you are not. So how is it that you are better than me? Right? And how is it that you are doing the implementation and I'm not?
Okay,
Okay.
that's
So
interesting.
I never felt the need for a certification because I was in a job. But that's the time I did my first certification, 2011. Okay. And I have always renewed my certification 5 years. And lately during S4 HANA, I do it every year. So I am
Mhm.
currently SAP S4 HANA SD certified. As soon as it expires, I take the new one and I do it. So I've always been continuously certified. That is one. And that is because I don't want anyone to ask that question, that are you certified or not, right? That's the only
Correct.
thing. I know SD, right? I don't need to explain to know anyone that I know SD. But it is like having a basic threshold, right? So say, can you be a good engineer without a BTech? Yes, if you study well, you can be a very good engineer without a BTech. But without a BTech, will you be able to convince people that you are a good engineer, or even the fact that
Correct.
you are an engineer? So that is
Correct.
that is how the market is now. So if there are 1,000 people out there and 600 of them are certified, and you are applying for a job and you are not certified, that is my personal belief, Rakesh, that the HR is first. The HR will first pick up the ones who are certified, right? All of you are trained. She does not have
Right.
any
Right.
other thing to choose from, right? So she will say, all of you
True.
educated, all of you have done a formal SAP education, all of you are BTechs. Now, how do I differentiate? Okay, so let me see how many of you are certified, and then let me see how many of you are currently certified in the newest version. So that it just becomes a threshold. Certification is nothing else now, at least, because in our times, certification that time 2007, 8, 9 was more difficult. You had to do so many
Right.
things, and you had to take special approvals if you were trying to do a certification, right? But now it is easier,
Then
and
how is,
but
yeah.
uh, because it is easier, it has now become a threshold, right? So you need to have that certification thing on your CV, at least in your first or second job. That's my feeling.
That's correct. I mean, in general, if you see, you can learn everything about medicine, and then when you go try to do practice, people will not
Right,
allow you to do that, because unless you have a doctor's degree, you can't
right,
do that. So certification is like that doctor's degree. If you are going for a implementation, the customer will ask that question, which you rightly said, that I am certified, but what about you? So even if you have more skill, more knowledge, that doesn't matter. There has to be a threshold, and that threshold is definitely certification. So having certification definitely helps, and it gives you a confidence also when you are having a connect with customer, and they also trust
absolutely.
you more. So yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
definitely required. I think one more question, which is also, I think, very important or pertinent today, is everyone is talking about AI and how it is impacting the SAP roles, the jobs, the uh, what SAP consultant should do, or maybe a fresher who is coming into SAP, what they should think about how to channelize their careers, keeping AI in mind, because if we just keep blindfold on our head thinking AI is not going to affect us, it will not really going to work. So we have to basically be proactive about it. So yeah, Gagan, what do you think? Consultants or the freshers or who are new to SAP, they should how they should channelize their careers in considering AI, as well as some of the consultants are also scared. They say, what is going to happen to the jobs if the code is going to be written by Joule? So a lot of things come into market about it. Yeah, over to you, Gagan.
Yeah. So some companies like Microsoft and Google are already claiming that one third of their code is already written by AI, right? So
Hmm.
that is already in the news. That's not hidden
Right,
from anyone.
correct.
And it's only going to increase, and it's only going to get better, right? ChatGPT has been around roughly for 2 years now, and in already 2 years, you see it has disrupted the market to the fact that 33% of code in some companies more is already being written by AI, right? And this is going to go up because this is the easiest use case for them, right? Uh, Teaching AI, teaching the bot, teaching the Gen AI how to program was the easiest way for them to save money and be efficient, and that's what they have gone about with. So that is one, and they'll continue to do so, right? So Google came, people said that now it will be easier for everyone to work, because you don't know something, you Google it, you understand it, you learn it, you'll be a better person, a better worker, no doubt about that, right? I myself, in all my implementations, I used Google a lot, and I could actually do a better job because of Google, right? Someone else has solved that issue. Why do you want to reinvent the wheel? So we all became better, right? But Gen AI is to the next level, right? So uh, Gen AI also adds efficiency to you, right? You're making documents, you don't need to write all of it yourself. So if you know how to play around well with the chat GPT or Grok or any other tool, you become a really efficient worker, right? And that helps you shine more, right? So that is one. Second, I feel is now you cannot just be a functional consultant. So you say I'm just a SDF, I am MPP, right? Technical, I'll come to technical later, but if you are functional, you also need to add build, you need to add Joule, you need to have an understanding of all these tools as well, right? Because the companies would expect that uh, applications which can be made using Joule, build code, etc., you don't go to a programmer and ask his help for that, right? So small
Right.
applications will can be done on your own. You should actually be doing on your own, and that's going to be expectation really soon. Okay, so if you're ready for that, it's good for you, and you'll be a better consultant. That is one. Coming to the technical front, Rakesh, you are a technical guy. You would know better, and I would want you to answer that in detail. I feel that ABAP is going to be disrupted, right? In fact, Joule itself is disrupting ABAP to a certain level, right? What is that level? Will jobs be affected? What do technical guys need to do? And how to do it better is something I think I'll leave it to you. And maybe you answer that part of the question. I'll keep myself to the functional part. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you rightly said, Gagan, that functional cannot be just functional. They need to start utilizing the AI to be more efficient and do more things rather than being just functional. Like
Right,
building small applications could be just using AI.
right,
So SAP has already taken the step there with Joule, with SAP Generative AI Launchpad and AI Core and New Age, some of the application in AI for document extraction, basically OCR sort of application. So a lot of things have come which can be utilized rather than somebody going to build from scratch, taking 2 years just to build such some things like that. So AI has done the big shift there, that whatever you used to take to build something, now you don't need to build, let's say, for 6 months. You can build something in a few weeks, which is quite effective or at par with what you were doing for like 6 months. So that is something has come. But at the same time, if you're a quality consultant, you're a quality technical consultant, I don't think you should be worried. All you have to do is to adapt AI, or embrace AI rather than thinking it as your competitor. It could be your friend, basically. So you are able to write better codes, more efficient codes, or many things which will take you time to do. You can do it faster. So as a consultant, you can do much better. But of course, uh, it will be a challenge if you're an average consultant. So there is something, because AI is going to do that. So you have to, ahead of the curve. People expect you to, what AI has generated, are you able to review that? So the reviewers will be important, because AI can hallucinate. AI can give you very wrong results also. So if you are having subject knowledge, you are understanding the syntaxes or technicalities or architecture, that is not going to decrease your value. You are going to always be relevant if you are embracing AI rather than thinking that AI is going to take away the job or something. Of course it is taking away, and things are happening which Gagan has pointed out. And but that is something because AI is writing that piece of code which was being done manually. Now it is automated. So you have to, there will be new opportunities getting created because of AI. So we have to move towards that rather than thinking, where is my cheese? I think the long back I read a book, where is my cheese? So this is that moment where you have to think, where is the cheese? So you have to think of how you channelize your energy towards AI, embracing it, and kind of going about it. Yeah.
The best part about Rakesh and how SAP is different from other technologies is the fact that SAP is moving towards S/4HANA. So
Right.
that shift is a blessing in disguise for all technical consultants, right? So even
Right.
though there's an increase in the use of AI, But because there are so many organizations which are already moving from ECC to S4 HANA, and
Right.
there'll be so many more organizations which will be moving to S4 HANA in the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Right.
So therefore, the requirement for consultants is actually manifold, right? So if you needed, say, 100 consultants in 2022, you would need 500 in 2027, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because that there'll be so much more work. So even if AI was to take 50% of the work, your job is still intact, at least till 20
Yeah. Yeah.
2032 2034. I don't see any major shift happening because there is so much more work coming right now.
Yeah, the rise movement to rise with SAP and even the public cloud implementation. There are so many customers moving to ECC to S/4HANA Rise. So of course, there's plenty of work going to be, and demand is always going to be higher than the supply. So I don't think such a scenario will come in SAP, as you said, Gagan. But yeah, I mean, we should of course be ready for that as well. That what is the role going to be in migration projects? What you can do, come ahead with your own set of suggestions for the customers. Come with some scenario document, best practices, so that once you go in the project, the customer would be happy that we are having consultants coming up with the right approaches or best practices, basically. Yeah. Now, one of the questions I had from the common consultants as well, that how to stay updated with latest SAP innovation. I think we have kind of answered that question, but the 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 relevant being relevant in the current scenario is of course challenge for many consultants, especially people who have spent 20 years in SAP, 15, 20 years. Now, what to do next? Like, what is the best approach they can take? Because there's a lot of uh, pressure or challenge because of AI has come. So, for the people who are already quite experienced, what is your suggestions to them, like in SAP? Gagan.
Okay, so I'll answer for myself, and that will maybe answer for others as well. So I was always a ECC guy, right? To be frank, I did not touch S4 HANA till 2020. Okay, so 13 years in SAP, but did not touch S4 HANA, and I felt like a fish out of water, right? So I was so scared. What is S4 HANA? What is this business partner thing? How has the world changed, right? I already knew so much about SAP, and now the world has changed. SD has changed, right? There's no XD01, 02, 03, 05, right? The tables have changed. What's this new thing coming, right? And that only went away when I read about it, right? So I did two things. I bought books, and two, I bought a server, right? So
Mhm.
buy a book, buy a server. See, SAP, like what is true for the end user is true for you, right? You go to end user. In the beginning, the end user is fearful of SAP, right? He sees a big screen,
Absolutely.
200 fields. He's like, oh my god, I am dead. I'm not coming to office tomorrow morning. And then you make him practice, and after doing that same sales order for 10 times, he says, really, it wasn't so difficult after all, right? And the same thing applies to you as well, right? You business partner, till you look at it, looks like something out of hell. But the moment you start looking at it, practicing it, and looking at those screens and configurations, because remember, the reference guide is already there. So when you buy a server, the BP is already created. You don't need to create it, right? That's the best part. You just need to give some money to the person who's giving those servers to you, and you can see a BP created. You can see all the standard config which SAP has already done and shared to you, right? And that is the whole thing which we have always been doing as consultant. IMG, right? Implementation reference guide. It's a
Right.
guide
Yeah.
where there is already a reference. Please
Right.
buy your server, right? Spend those
Right.
5,000 rupees. Buy the server, look at that screen. You already know ECC, and you will find S4 HANA easier and better when you do that. Now, that's the ECC to S4 HANA transition. And about new things, what I do is something you can do as well. So, three things I do. One is I have access to Partner Edge, right? Because my company
Right.
provides me
Yeah.
with that. You might not get it if you're not in sales or pre-sales, so that is a part you can leave. The other is being very active on SAP community. People write a lot and people write beautiful blogs. Please read them end to end. Whatever you read it thoroughly before you go to the second thing, right? Because then you know that thing properly. And
Yeah.
third, what you do is, if you have, like Rakesh mentioned earlier, so many ways in which you can learn from SAP, right? I think Open SAP is not there right now. They've renamed it to
Yeah,
something.
they
I forgot,
learn.sap they are now calling it.
right? So you go there and there's so much stuff which is free of cost. So please learn that. So these are three things I do. Rakesh, something else you think can be done to make this better? Please add.
I think these are very important points, especially once you come to some experience. It's very easy to become complacent and think that, I'm settled now, in SAP. But yeah, you're never settled. Then only you can live better in SAP. So that's
Absolutely.
the being in discomfort is always a comfortable thing in SAP. So you have to keep learning. There's
Totally.
no day goes, something new comes up, customer comes with a new requirement which is you have not even read about it. Once you go to health.s, oh, it is that is possible, and then you configure a small demo, show to them, and then you are yourself happy that you learned something new today. So that thing should be always alive. Everything, every day you should try to learn something new. What is new coming from SAP, from blogs or help.sap or SDN, or even these LinkedIn is a very powerful medium where you can see a lot of material being circulated. The engagements are there, communities are there, so there's many ways to keep interacting and learning basically. Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to add, Rakesh, which I always say, if you look at SAP's market share price 3 years back, it was around $80. Today it is around 250, 260, maybe 270. So SAP's share price has tripled in 3 years, which means SAP is doing it right.
And yeah,
Now, are
yeah,
you doing it right or not is a question I'll ask to you, right?
correct,
So
correct.
SAP is going on the right path. They are doing it right. The market thinks they are on the right path. Gen AI, Joule, build code, all those things are right, because the market never lies. It's not one person. It is a set of thousands of people, right? So SAP is on the right track. Are you on the right track? Ask yourself that thing.
No, totally, totally with you, Gagan. Because I think initially a lot of people were saying SAP is doing going to cloud. Is it a good strategy or not? But I see the share price is telling you the story. That's definitely it's on the
Absolutely.
right track, and we should
Absolutely.
be following that track as well, upgrading ourselves in those areas where SAP is investing heavily. So that's for sure path to success. And yeah, you rightly said that. I think one of the other questions I come across is that SAP projects goes long. Sometimes you get overwhelmed with things and stress and things like that. So how you have handled that in your career, Gagan? So how did you handle that basically? Yeah.
Okay. So one blessing in disguise, Rakesh, was that I was always in Indian projects. So projects outside India can be 2 years, 3 years sometimes, but my projects mostly were 9, 10, 11 months. Okay. So not very small, but not in years, right? So, but still, yes, there were pressures. Uh, okay. So let me tell it to you like that. So if you are in a project, and in the beginning you will feel that there's a lot of time because there's just meetings are there, and then you get a lot of free time when there's nothing, right? Because the project is yet kicking up pace, it's not picked up pace, everything is going on slow, you get a lot of free time, you can go out, chat, you can have tea, coffee, come back, there's still nothing done, right? And then suddenly the project picks up pace, and there's so much coming to you that you start getting overwhelmed, right? So I saw that in the first project, and second project onwards I changed my strategy, which is in the beginning when there's less work, and that will always be there, right? First 1 month, 2 month, maybe 3 months, and that's a blessing in disguise. That is the time when you make yourself ready for what's going to come, right?
Mhm.
So if you, so you need to The customer is not coming to you, you go to the customer. Say you are in a domestic site, the customer says, I don't have the time to come and have a meeting with you. Go
Yeah.
to where he is sitting and ask him your questions, right? He'll always answer you when he's on his seat, right? He might not have time to come to you. And do your homework, make your Excel sheets, make your documents, make your PPTs, make your PDDs, FSDs, whatever things you can make, right? Even if they are, say, 30% ready or 40% ready or even 20% ready, right? Be ready with that stuff, because when that phase comes, when you have to deliver very quickly, that is when this homework or the precursor which you have done as a preparation for that time will help you. So don't waste your time, don't while away your time when you have time, right? I agree, at your age, talking to friends, going out, having tea, chatting is also important. I will not deny that. And that helps in networking. But also please take out your time and do more stuff when the project is picking up pace. Don't let your manager tell you what to do, right? Because in the end it is your work, you will anyways have to do it. So do it when there is less pressure rather than doing it when there is more pressure. That is how I used to do it, Rakesh.
Yeah, like typically we also say, I mean, inside SAP circles, we say that during the design phase, everything is, like honeymoon period. Nobody is asking you questions and
Right,
challenging you from the customer side. They are listening
right,
to you. Everything you say is gospel to them.
right.
And after you have done the build, you have done the, development, and then you go in the UAT. Basically, then the real tussle comes in. So you have to
Absolutely.
face the question. So if you are ready with that, you have done your homework well, you have done your developments well, you have taken the requirements well, you have discussed them well. As you said in the beginning itself, you go to the customer and talk to them, not like during the UAT now they come up with an idea because you have not discussed in detail. So they come up with a new set of requirements, and then there is a challenge. It is in scope, not in scope, and a lot of fight goes on and things like that. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
important to.
Ask them to show your documents. See, because what happens is when you ask them from your requirements, they'll only be able to tell you their recent business. So what I did a week back, maybe a month back, I can tell you.
Right.
So you go to automotive company and you ask them, what do you sell? So they'll say, we sell cars. Okay. Don't you sell anything else? No, we are a car seller. We only sell cars. And then you probe further and really, you don't sell. We also sell spare parts. That's a very small business. It could be a small business for you, but it is
Right.
configuration for
Yeah.
me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Do you sell AMC? Yeah, yeah, we sell AMC. Very few people buy. Oh, few people buy. Yes, that could be
Mm.
small for you. It's a whole big configuration for me,
Yes.
right? So until you probe, so that is the time, that's the free time is for you to probe. If you probe well, if you ask pointed questions, if you read about them on Google, because a lot of time what they won't tell you is what Google will tell you, right? So if you use that time well, you will not be under that pressure and stress. So that's my take, Rakesh. Thanks.
No, very true. Yeah. I think there is one more thing which, how do you, beyond SAP, what do you do, Gagan, to like, unwind yourself or to relax yourself? What do you like to do? Just walking or doing something? What do you like to do?
uh, I have two beautiful kids, so
Yeah,
I play with them. Yeah, we go to the playground, we play badminton, sometimes football, sometimes cricket. So that's what I like to do with them. That is one. We play board games at home. If not that, then I spend time with my wife and we watch Netflix. I like watching serials on Netflix. So these are two hobbies which I have. Whenever I have time, I spend time with her or I spend time with my kids, and that helps me unwind. That helps me feel better and prepared for the next morning.
that's so nice to hear. I mean, just being SAP consultant will not help you. So you need to have
Yes.
your extra personality beyond SAP as well to carry forward. Otherwise, you'll get stuck. You'll feel that you're
Yeah.
getting stuck or not enjoying the craft itself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I play with them, and a lot of times they'll come around and they'll look at my LinkedIn post and say, "Okay, we have some idea for you. Why don't you make this?" And I'll say, "No, you cannot be telling me ideas." So they say, "No, okay, no, we are giving you an idea, and this is your next post. You'll have to make this." Oh, okay,
That's
fine.
so adorable.
Sometimes I need to adhere to them, so
Yeah.
that's okay.
Having a
Just make me
having a
feel
critic
better.
at home is good to have,
Right.
First
Absolutely.
first hand review happens. Yeah,
Right.
that's so nice. Okay, so one more point was on the mentorship. So, how important has been mentorship to you? Who have been your mentors, and how somebody can find the right mentors for them in SAP or in career as in general, basically.
Yeah. So I have had the opportunity of having many beautiful mentors, right? So my first mentor from IBM was Gaurav Tyagi, a very intelligent SAP SD consultant and a very beautiful mentor, right? So he held me through the Frito-Lay journey. I knew config and I had done that 15-day training, but it's never enough to be on a project, right? So because as I told you, config is what, just 10 days out of the total project, right? What do you do
Right,
for the
right.
next days?
Yeah.
So his handling of the customer, his way of talking, understanding, documentation, very methodical. So that helped me a lot, and that actually set my pace for how I would be a consultant. Your first boss matters a lot, right? And if your first boss happens to be a good mentor, nothing like that, right? So that is one. I also had a cousin, Jaswinder Singh. So he got me into SAP. He was already in SAP,
Okay.
one of the first few SAP employees in India, 2002 to 2003, when very few people knew SAP, and he was in SAP at that time. So he mentored me. He told me what's SAP, and he brought me towards SAP, and that was one reason why I joined IBM SAP after my MBA. Right. So these mentors have helped me a lot, and mentors are very important, very important. Okay, and I'll name one more mentor. So we call him JC fondly, and what used to happen, so you're asking me a question, what happens when there's a lot of pressure, right? So we were working on a project, there was a lot of pressure, and we were all whining, right? So he's the project manager, we are consultants, and we are all whining, there's so much work, there's so much pressure, what is happening? So he tells us that whining will not get you anything, right? You are already here, you better get this job done. If you don't like it and you think the company is not giving you enough, then you always have the choice of leaving, right? Go find someplace better where you can do a better job. So mentors give you these small one liners, sometimes more, sometimes documentation, sometimes a way of working processes. So you can find a mentor outside, you can find it on LinkedIn, it can be your father, it can be your friend, it can be your elder brother, but having a mentor means you will really do well in your life, right? Because you have a
True.
guide who can answer those very small questions which can make a difference in where your career will go, right? So if I am stuck now, right, and I don't know where to go, I call these three guys and I ask them, what should I do, right? I'm 42 now, and I've been in SAP for 18 years. I still call them. That is what a mentor can do for you, Rakesh.
That is true. I mean, I also had some good mentors in my Accenture days when I had Sunil Raje was my mentor, and he helped me a lot, I can say. Of course, after that period, I started my organization. But yeah, I mean, having there also, I had a customer who kind of became my mentor. He was my customer, but he kind of told me to start things on my own and do. So having a guide definitely helps you many things you can't do on your own. I mean, you can execute it, but having somebody to give you a perspective, that helps a lot to how you can go about it. And they have seen the world, they have seen things which you might not have. You might be blindsided about it, so that definitely helps a lot, basically.
Absolutely. So it's like let's go to the old days, right? So father was a farmer, son is a farmer, father is a mentor, he tells the son how to farm, right?
Right.
father is
Right.
a father is a blacksmith, son becomes a blacksmith, right? And then he tells his son how to use tools, right? So they were mentors, right? Now my father was a banker, yeah, so he can tell me about banking, he can tell me about life, but I need a mentor who's been in SAP, who's been in organizations, who's seen IT,
Right.
right? So can your father be a mentor? Yes, very a lot of times if you are in happen to be in the same field, right? Doctors are normally great doctors to their sons and daughters. But
Right.
people like us, a lot of times we need to go out and find a mentor. So
Yeah, true, true. I mean, subject is something needs some expertise. So somebody who has gone to
seen
that path,
seen
you know,
that,
that
done that. Yes,
done that.
yes,
Yeah, correct.
right.
Yes. I think most of the times in SAP, I would say when I was fresher, I had this challenge that firstly I got trained myself in .NET with I was in TCS as my first organization, and they trained me in .NET and database technologies and all that. And then I did a small project in that for a client of US Honeywell, and it was quite well. I did quite well there, and then on that performance, the group leader in that TCS days, they recommended me for the SAP training. So there was a point where I felt like I'm doing quite well in .NET, or the technologies I have done well, and so many people have this confusion about SAP, that is it really great, or somebody who are new to SAP, they don't know SAP. So what will be your advice to them, how SAP can transform lives or careers and things like that?
Okay. So again, going back to that AI thing which you asked, right? So AI is transforming careers, and AI is making things different from way they were 5 years back, right? 5 years back, say if you are from IIT or Delhi College of Engineering or Triple IT, someone takes you for a coding job, pays you 20, 30, 40 lakhs an annum, and you are at the top of your life. You move to US, you start getting more, and you are set. Now, that thing which we always took for granted when we were in a great educational institution has started to move, right? And and you can already see those results when people say 33% of our code is done by artificial intelligence. Okay,
Right.
so the world is changing, the jobs will change, and they will particularly do so in programming languages which are more prevalent, right? So .NET, C Sharp, Python, Java, right, where a lot of code is being written, that is what will be targeted first. And that is where loss of jobs and loss of entry level jobs will be seen first. Okay, now that is one side, right? So you have two options. You come out of engineering, you come out of MBA, you have one side which is this, and then you on the other side you have SAP, right? Now SAP largely has always been a functional thing. Why? Because the software is already made, right? It's not that you have to make it from scratch, it's already made. The best use the best things are already there, right?
Right.
The uh, best practices are already built in, so it's more of a functional thing. Yes, there's also technical stuff, but it's more of a functional knowledge. And I think SAP will continue to grow. I already talked about the share price, so which means they are doing things right. SAP carriers are only going to get better, right? If you don't shy away from AI, if you are comfortable with AI, right, you know how to use it well, SAP is going to come up with many new products, right? And you can have an understanding of a base module and then also learn something new.
Right.
And I can promise you, SAP is going to be a great career. It was always a great career. It is going to get even better now. SAP share price was stable for almost 10 years. Just go and have a look. Last 3 years, it is just rocketing like anything, right? and that's because SAP is doing something great. And what SAP does, that comes back to the partner after 2 3 years. So partners will now start doing better because they made a
Obviously.
product, we'll start using it, right, as
Right.
partners, and then partners start doing well. And when partners start doing well, the third thing which happens is that employees start doing well, right? So that takes effect. So that will happen in the SAP world, and SAP carriers are going to be really strong, right? You will have good carriers, great carriers. Already there's a lot of demand because of ECC to S/4HANA transformation. People need consultants in Europe, they need consultants in USA, they need consultants in Africa, right? So there's a lot of demand. And on top of that, SAP is also giving you BTP now, so you can be a BTP
Right.
consultant. Whatever you were making outside in Java, .NET, etc., come in and make it in BTP. Why do you want to
Right.
make it
Yeah.
there, right?
Absolutely.
So SAP, I think, can be 100 times bigger than what it is now, right? It was only an ERP
Mm.
now, and now it can be anything. So if you are coming into SAP, please come wholeheartedly. Your getting the first job might be a problem. I'll already tell you that, but that should not stop you from having a great career. That's the only time you will find yourself struggling. If you are a good learner, if you study well, if you put your heart and soul into this, the only time you will face a problem in your career is getting the first job, right? After that you will never ever look back. My take, Rakesh, please.
Yeah. So I think we'll take some questions as well.
Please go ahead.
Uh,
Yeah,
so one of the questions somebody has asked that being BTech computer science student, how difficult it is for me to understand the functional aspects of SAP. I mean, I think we discussed it, but yeah, you can answer that question.
sure. Okay, so let's take an example, right? You go to a market, say you go to DMart or you go to Big Bazaar, right? And you look at a price, so it says, say you box of chocolates, you see it as 500, and then they have discounted it on the box, they say 460, and then there's a sticker on it which says further discounting 420, right? You understand that, right? This is also business, but you understand it, so you know there's an MRP, you know there's some discount, and that come brought it down,
Yeah,
and then they are giving you a Diwali discount or a Holi discount, and you're buying it for 400. Now this is business, right? So
yeah,
if you
yeah.
understand this, you are already understanding the functional aspects of SAP, right? So this is functional aspect of SAP is day to day business. You just need to know the module where you find yourself closest enough, right? So as a kid, I used to go to the kirana store, right, the mom and pop store, and used to stand there for half an hour. I used to chat with the owner. How do you buy stuff? Who comes to you to deliver? When do they come to deliver? Why do I never see anyone delivering? What time do they come? Why do they come? Do you always buy full boxes? Do you buy half boxes? So that was always a curiosity, right? I always liked going to the kirana store, right? I never let my father or mother go to the kirana store. I loved doing that. So I had that functional thing understanding of SD. So that's why when the question came, I took up SD. Right? Say you've done an engineering, you are a mechanical engineer, or you are a chemical engineer, right? And you have a good understanding on how things work. Then production planning or materials management module would be
Right,
easy for you to understand. Quality
right,
management module or plant maintenance module will be easy for you to understand. It is
right,
just basic plain business stuff, right? Again, remember, 95% of SAP is understanding business. 5% of it is understanding config, right? I
correct,
do
correct.
agree, in the beginning you'll need to get learn config to get into SAP, but ultimately 95% is business understanding and 5% is config understanding, right? So if business comes naturally to you, you already know, okay, production planning, what will happen? I need a bomb, I need some stuff which will be put together and we'll make
Right,
something.
right.
Then functional things are easy, right? So
Yeah, you have bomb and recipe. Similarly, you cook something, you have so many ingredients like that. You
absolutely,
produce something, so you have to correlate things. If
right.
you are using Amazon, then you do. buy it or you return it. So returns concept, everything is there around you. So you have to learn
Absolutely,
from what is
absolutely.
happening around.
After e-commerce, a lot of you know much more than we used to do when we started, right?
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you are a SD consultant and you open your Amazon app, right, you will get 90% of the business answers there,
Correct.
right? So
Totally agree. I think there's one more question there. How can someone efficiently navigate or transition between various SAP modules? So, if I understand it, it might be somebody who's, let's say, SD consultant might want to, I don't know, if want to move to MM or PP or whatsoever. I guess that's the question, possibly. Yeah.
I
But I
normally
don't.
don't suggest moving between modules. Okay. Unless you are moving from a module to a pre-sales guy, or moving from a module to a
Hmm.
sales guy,
Right.
or
Right.
moving from technical to functional. So you started with technical and you understand I'm more a functional guy, I like talking to people, and you know move to
Right.
functional, right?
Right. Yeah.
But otherwise, moving from SD to MM, yes, you can do it. uh, Again, it's a training thing, right? And it will be less difficult than coming into SAP. And why is that? Because you already know the basic screens. You
Right.
know
Yeah.
how to log in, you know the basic screens, you know how to look at tables, how to open tables. You know all of that, right? And when you know all of that, then that part does not need to be learned. So moving from one module to other is easier than coming into SAP, is how I would answer that.
I think even in our case, like I take my case, we have initially started with BI analytics module, and later on, because I needed to know a WAP, I learned a WAP. Then, as on basically cross train yourself, basically the modules which are associated with your module, like
Yeah, yeah,
somebody with MM can go for warehouse management or EWM or
absolutely,
something. So it will be
absolutely.
correlated and much easier for you to transition, I guess. And
Right,
similarly, for somebody in finance can know about consolidation, they can go for group reporting or things like that. Yeah,
right,
that
right,
can be
right,
an
right.
answer.
Yes.
Then there is one question which is what certification I need to be working as SAP pre-sales. So maybe you can, since you are a pre-sales guy, I think you can answer it well.
Okay.
What
So
is trainings you need basically first of all, yeah, for
okay.
pre-sales in
So
SAP?
Ishika, I did not do formal certifications. Okay. So if you work in pre-sales for an organization, SAP asks you to do some certifications as being a partner, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you're working with a partner of SAP, then SAP would want the partner to do some certifications, right? No, partner company can never do certifications, so people do certifications. So
Right.
as part of being the a person in that partner, so being a pre-sales guy with that organization, I did some internal certifications which are on SAP website, where you need to tell SAP that I know pre-sales well, I have read your material, and I am able to do it, right? But otherwise, open, where you see SD certification or MM or PP or other certifications, you will not find a pre-sales certification there. There is no
Right.
certification for a pre-sales there. But if you join a SAP firm, an SAP partner who does SAP work, and who's
Right.
actually formally taken partnership of SAP,
Yeah.
like Rakesh, then inside the organization you can do those certifications.
Yeah. On the partners portal, there are certifications
Yes.
basically
So
for
they are
pre-sales.
partner edge portal
Yeah.
certifications.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Then there's question from Vinayak. If you are a SAC consultant, which is SAP Analytics Cloud, does it make sense to slowly transition into S/4HANA or BTP modules as demand is expected to grow, or to persist with the existing SAC module basically?
This
Yes,
is your
Gagan.
question, Rakesh. This is your
Okay.
question. You'll answer
I
it
think
better, please.
it's more to do with what you enjoy basically. If you enjoy doing analytics work, you enjoy building MIS for your customers, interacting with the CFOs, CIOs, and building that solution is more interesting for you, then you do that. But if you If you enjoy the system, write code, or build something which is from scratch, like in BTP, we build applications and apps basically. So if you enjoy that, then possibly that is the path you can transition to. But if you are, I mean, it depends totally on you what you enjoy basically. So it's skill wise both is possible. You can do even in BTP, but it also depends on what is your interest. That's the thing. Next question is, what extraordinary skills should someone have to handle end clients? So during a project challenge or mishap, or there is escalation. So what is the skill set you think, Gagan, which can help consultants if there is a project escalation, you have scope creep or things like that? Things are not on schedule. I handle that many a time. So yeah, what is your suggestion, Gagan, on that? Yeah.
Right. So I think that's a soft skill actually. That's not a hard skill, right? You have to inculcate it over time. So if the customer is angry, then you cannot be angry, right? There cannot be two angry people in the same room,
Right,
right?
right.
So you'll have to, and you have to remember that he is the customer, he's paying you. Even though he's wrong, he's the one who's providing salary to you at the end of the day, and you need to listen to him patiently. So that is what we bring to the table, right? So we are consultants, right? And we cannot be shouting or answering in an improper manner. So whatever be the situation, the ability of remaining calm is something which is most important, right? And for some it might come naturally, others might have to inculcate it. But if you want to move up the ladder from a consultant to a program manager to a project manager or even an owner like Rakesh, most important is that people can tell you 10 things, right? You need to know how to respond to them, when to respond, what to respond to, and what to just let it go. Like you saw Dravid let go a lot of balls,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's a very good
So
example
that's
of, yeah,
that's just the right way. And Rakesh see doing that a lot, right? So
yeah.
that is what you need to know, how to remain calm in those situations. McGraw will come and bowl a ball at 150, and he's himself is 6.5 feet, and the ball is going at 7.5 feet, right? And coming to you at such great speeds. The only thing you can do at that point of time is remain calm and just let it pass, and then you will get a ball where you can hit a four or a six. So that's what I
I
would say.
was lucky in my career to have worked with a couple of managers who were very calm and patient with customer. I saw them, customers shouting at them, and they were really relaxed. And so in my beginning of the career, I had that chance to see that how they were able to. I asked them, "Well, how are you so calm? You did not answer to him." He said, "What will happen? What is the outcome we want to achieve? That is more important than." Uh, so, what is the outcome you want to achieve? You want to have a successful project, you want to deliver things on time, that is more important to you than that small thing which can be frivolous after a point. You will not even remember that happened, right? So it has to be a calm and patient manner that those things have to be handled. And like Gagan said, you have to be Rahul Dravid to leave a lot of deliveries like that, and then you can hit 100. You can have a successful match, basically. So successful project as well. Yeah. So
Because
yeah.
career is surely a test match, Rakesh. You'd agree to
Yeah.
me on that, right? It's
No,
not a one day
absolutely.
or a T20.
Absolutely.
It is a
Absolutely.
test match. You need to be on the wicket for a long time.
We come
And
to
and
chaos, we come to challenge many a times, and we have
right.
to keep ourselves.
Stay on the crease. Stay on the
Yeah.
crease is very
Yeah.
important.
That's true.
I'll just give a small thought, Rakesh. I had a manager, and this was in a project in Indore. I worked there, and he was remarkable. So the client would actually be shouting, and he would shout so loudly that we would need to go out of the room. And my project manager used to be smiling, and the client after some time started getting frustrated, and he would actually say, "I'm shouting, why are you smiling? Sir, you cannot, please at least let me smile. Can you stop? You cannot take away the that thing which I have, right? I'm
Right.
relaxed, I'm okay. You say what you want to say, I'm not stopping you. Why are you getting angry with me on smiling, right? I'm letting
Mm.
you talk, I'm letting you say what you want to, but I'll continue to smile. And we were like, my God, this guy is too much.
No, no,
So
absolutely. I had some people like Thomas was my manager. I was in UAE doing some of the projects with oil and gas company. So during that period, that guy, we had to take clearance or approvals from multiple departments, and everywhere people would take time. They will not listen to you, and I was frustrated to a certain extent. But that guy was so calm, so relaxed. He went through the process like, without any hint of getting angry or something. So you get to learn a lot from such people, and I think that's very important in any of the projects of SAP.
absolutely.
Yes, we have one question on BTP again. Hello, what are the key services offered by SAP BTP that I should be aware of as newcomer or programming language I should have hands on? Okay. I think BTP part I'll take. So BTP, you
Yeah,
have
yes.
various services. You use CAP or RAP based application development. Then you use CPI for data integration stuff. You have now generative AI has come, so generative AI launchpad is there, AI core is there, and then AI based services are also given by SAP for your document information extraction, and then predicting the attributes of your master data, and many other things have come recently from SAP. So I think you should explore them. That will be really helpful. In terms of programming languages, I think ABAP is being repackaged now by SAP. So if you know ABAP, it's not like it will be still be useful in BTP as well. Only thing is, along with ABAP, if want to know more languages, then JavaScript is something very useful, Node.js, and Java as well. So these languages are supported in BTP. If you know Python, that will be helpful to you when you do generative AI work in BTP. So these are the languages I think will be handy even going forward in next 4, 5, I don't know, 10 years. There is one question from Girish: how important it is to have the cross module knowledge like with SD, PP, or WM for long term growth? Yes, Karan. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah, cross module knowledge helps a lot. Say it helps in various career paths. You want to be an SME, so you are an SD SME. You need to know what are the cross module linkages, right? Where would you interact with MM? Where would you interact with PP? Where would you interact with WM, FICO, etc. Because a lot of times when things are stuck, the other module guy might blame you for that, and then you actually get to know and understand that the there's a config remaining on the other module side, right? So if you know that, then you'll end up being a better consultant, end up being a better SME. It also helps when you want to become a project manager in life, right? So you're
Yeah,
a SD
yeah,
guy and you only know SD, versus there's an SD guy who also knows how processes
true.
work, how configs are done, what are my integrations with right? And what are the cycles which sometimes, like stock transfer, sometimes a SD guy does it, sometimes a guy does it, right? So if you, as a
Right,
SD guy,
right,
always
yeah,
let the guy do it and you don't know it, ultimately some point of your career you'll feel that you should have known it, right? So it's always better to have cross module knowledge, and in the beginning you'll have much more time to learn. So I always say spend that time when you have time on your hand to learn more. So at beginning of your career you'll have more time to spare, so get into other modules, trouble people, ask questions, right? Do their help your bosses. Say you're an SD and you're done with your work, go to the lead, tell him, sir, give me some work, let me do some documentation for you. Go to the PP guy, ask for documentation. Helping these people will help you learn a lot, right? Because humans always learn more by doing. So do it.
right. Yeah. I think there's one more question. How do we approach customizing procurement process for client with complex requirements?
How do we approach customizing procurement processes? Okay, so customizing procurement processes for clients with complex requirements. Okay, so I'll answer it generally. It could be
Yeah.
procurement processes or any processes, right? So clients has complex requirements, though. See, SAP has been configured for the biggest companies in the world, right? So HUL, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Shell, BPCL, IOCL, the big Reliance Industries, Tata, right? So you name the biggest organization, and
Absolutely.
99% you will find they are on SAP. So SAP has already seen all those things, and most of the time you will see that config boxes, radio buttons, drop downs would already settings would already be in place for that requirement, right? So my answer would be don't hastily go for a development, right? If you have not done that configuration earlier, it does not mean that the config is not there. It just might mean that you don't know it. So take time, right? Stand back, take time, ask your questions, document it, and then after you're done meetings with the client, sit back in the evening, tell your wife, tell your mother you'll be late, spend those 4 5 6 hours in the office with your laptop, and then try to analyze whether those requirements can be done in standard SAP and how they can be done. So that is something I used to do, and I always found it handy. Sometimes it might happen you've not seen a config because you've not done it for a long time, or you never needed to do it earlier. But when the requirement comes, that's the time you need to look at screens, you need to analyze, you need to do those F1s, F4s, and ultimately the answer comes to you. So don't hastily go into development. Most of the things I believe can be solved using config.
That's fantastic. I think yesterday I came across one such requirement. I had a meeting with customer where the requirement was to have their procurement approval workflow on the mobile phone. So they asked me how can we build it, like, I was so we suggested a BTP approach, and it's a new approach because obviously earlier you had traditional ECC systems and you had to go to laptop and approve it. Now everybody is on the run, people have less time, so we have to come up with new set of solutions, and SAP has already done a lot of groundwork on that. So you have to explore the solutions, try to see if the complexity can be met. Lot of options of baddies, lot of options of SAP has given for customized workflows and things like that. So you should explore them, as Gagan said. Spend more time on your system, plan it out, and the more you dig in, the more you spend time, the better you will be on building the solution for your customers. Yeah, I think we are almost done with all the questions. So it was really fantastic having you, Gagan, on this webinar, and I'm sure everyone, including me, is very happy to learn things from you and engage with you. So really thankful to you, Gagan, for spending time on this Sunday, and I'm sure all the audience would have benefited from this session and definitely would be taking away knowledge from this session. So thanks so much, Gagan, for this wonderful time from you. Yeah,
Thank you, Rakesh. Thanks for having me over. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.